It's about 7 in the morning on Sunday, June 2nd, 2024. And I'm keeping with my plan of just lightly grazing the summer grass here. I don't want to put too much pressure on it. Probably won't be able to make it back here in the afternoon, so I gave them 4 posts instead of 2. That should be plenty of ground to cover. So I'll probably be back here in the morning to move them again. And right now it's very lightly raining, just a little bit of a mist. It's just kind of like we're inside of a cloud right now, which you can tell because it's kind of foggy, you know. So far June's pretty cool. It's not very warm. Yesterday got almost 90 degrees, but a storm came through in the evening or afternoon. So when we went out to work in the evening, it was pretty humid. All right, for some reason this doesn't have a post, so I just counted out 24 steps, which is about how far I put the posts. Yeah, I think my son put up this wire and he left a post out. We probably need to tighten this wire a little bit too, but it doesn't matter. It's good enough, it's perfect. So, all right, let's look at some cows. One of the comments I got from one of my commentators is that my young number 20, if I can find her, it's a black cow, but that doesn't really help. Young number 20 might be giving birth here in June. Just wanted to look at her. Just in case she does or doesn't, I want to kind of identify what the signs were. Where is she? Is that her? With the horns? I thought that was Blackie. No, Blackie's over there. This is probably her. Hello, ma'am. Are you young 20? Yeah, that's her. So let's look at her. Let's see if there's any identifying features. The right side here is a little bit hollow. That's what the rear end looks like. You can see the teats, the bag is not filling in as far as I can tell. It's been that way for the last several months. And it was a couple days ago when she was slightly swollen in the rear. So I chalk that up to with her being an estrus. So that'd be a sure sign that she's not carrying a calf there. But that's what she looks like from the rear. So if you want to give an opinion on whether you think 20 is going to give birth in June or not, you know, excuse me, I believe she was born back in October of 22, right? So she in June here of 24, that's going to be 18 months. Is that right? No, 20 months. Yeah, because there's 4 more months until October. So she's 20 months old. If she were to give a calf right now, it wouldn't be the biggest deal breaker in the world. And I'd do everything I could to keep that calf alive. But I'd prefer that she didn't. I prefer that we waited until after October that she gives birth. So I'm going to bring the bulls in, one bull on July. And then at that time I'm going to sell my other yearling bull. And then, you know, I might just have them castrated. right now. Just take them to the vet and have them castrate them for me, because I don't really have the facilities to do that kind of thing here. Yeah, so sell him when I put the new bull on the cows, get rid of him, and then leave the bull on for 2 months, and then take the bull off and bring with the bull the male calves. So we have all the males together, separated from the females, right? That's always full of drama when that happens, you know, when you wean the calves. So that would be in September. So the calves would be 7 months old at that time, which is probably the right time to wean calves, because they start to get fertile around then. And then going forward, the plan is to calve in April, bring the bulls on in July, take them off in September, and probably wean at that same time too, that I pull them off at the end of August, and then prepare for a sale date probably in November or December, right, when the grass runs out. And then actually going forward, I want to keep the steer, so I'd probably sell the heifers I don't want. I'd probably keep most of the heifers, just sell 1 or 2 of the heifers, keep the rest, and then gradually replace the herd with young heifers, you know. So going forward, that's kind of the plan. The steer I'll keep all of the steer. I'll sell the ones that I don't really think are great. Keep the steer, and then raise them to weight and sell them at full size, hopefully direct to consumer. Grass fed, grass finished, half South Pole. That's what they'll be next year, and then hopefully eventually we'll get up to full South Pole, and so hopefully we'll get some fat steer. It takes about 2 years to finish a steer. They're about 3 years old when they harvest them. So I'll have basically 2 herds. One is the cows, and the other is a steer. I keep the bull with the steer. That's fine. I'll give the steer the choicest ground. Have them graze on the sweetest grass, and then the cows will be the cleanup crew. And then I could also do things like combine the sheep with the cows or the steer, and then put the rams, with the other herd. And so I'll have 2 herds, one of the steer and one of the cows. That's kind of what I'm thinking right now. Will look like next year and going forward. So, and one of the reasons why I'm going to keep steer is for drought management. If we get a drought, I can just take those steer and sell them right away, and I won't have to sell the cows or their calves. So I can reduce the animal units on the ground. Now the sheep are a little bit different story. I can sell them whenever. I don't want to sell the ewes right now. I want to build up that flock size till about 300. But you can sell them whenever you want. Might not get the best price for them, but but with the cows are kind of different because they take so long to mature, and don't want to have to sell the cows. They don't get a good price anyway compared to the steer. So that's kind of where I'm at, what my thinking is. So right now we're just lightly grazing. I had a thought that we just keep going all the way to the end. The distance that I have them at right now is about a 12-week rotation. And the way I figure that is my field's half a mile long, 2,560 feet. I'm giving them about 100 feet for each row, which is about 200 feet for a week. And so that's 10 or 12 weeks to do a rotation. Last year I did a 3-week rotation on the recommendation of someone who does really well growing Bermuda grass and cows that eat the Bermuda grass. I forget the name of the breed that he uses, but they're an African breed that just does really, really well on the grass. And I tried to find some, and they're really hard to find. There's no breeders that I can find in the U.S. that are selling. So it's kind of in that early stage where not a lot of people have it. But I could keep going, but I kind of want to bring them back to the beginning. One of the reasons why I wanted to bring them back to the beginning was to graze on that fresh grass, the fresh spring grass, but there's just not a lot of spring grass because of the temperature. So that kind of was a bust. Seems every year I try to do that strategy, and every year it turns out a bust, because by the time I'm about ready to bring them back to the beginning, summer decides to show up. And the grass is already, dying. So I get one good spring rotation, and then it's time to do the summer grass, So that's what happened this year too. So maybe next year what I do is, in the springtime, I just try to graze the entire field, just kind of split it up and target the end of May. And then from there, we just go into summer grazing. We don't worry about coming back to the start or anything like that. So anyway, that's all I got for you guys. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.